What's going on, YouTube? It's Trevor down here at McNeil's Garage 2.0, further known as my house. Today we are working on something that I've been planning for a while and something that I hope will work. So let me show you what we're doing. So this is my 97 OBS two-wheel drive that we LS swapped a few months ago. We put Terminator X Max on it. I redid the factory harness, and whenever I redid the factory harness, I left all of the AC wires back here together because I had planned on putting AC back in. Well, today's the day. We're going to try and attempt to put AC back on. So I picked up this kit from LS Brackets. This is the 96 to 98 5.7 AC LS conversion bracket. It comes with all this stuff here, but you do have to buy Gates 38163 tensioner and the K061080 belt. So I have both of those here, and I have the compressor down on the ground underneath there. So basically what I believe is going to happen is the factory compressor is going to sit where the alternator is at right here, and then the alternator is going to get moved over here. So I haven't really seen any videos on this lately or at all. And so we're going to see what we can do, and hopefully it works. So let's get started. Okay, so since I don't really have much instruction to go off of, I think I have everything off that I need to. So I took the fan shroud off, which was these three M10 bolts, and then also the one there and the one there. So then the fan shroud came off. I removed the alternator for the LS, which is just these two bolts. Before you do that, you do have to take the belt off, and then you also take the either pulley off. So you pull all those off, and this is where we're at now. What I think is going to happen, and like I said, since I don't have much instruction, this is the bracket you get sent. So what it looks like is this is actually going to sit down in here like that, and then the compressor will sit on here. And I've already test fitted it a little bit, and it does clear everything back there. So I think that's how that's going to go. And then where these three bolts are at here is where this is going to come into play. It looks like this bracket's going to mount first. The alternator is going to sit in here somewhere, and these this bolt here and this bolt here will go through these top holes, which I believe will be for the alternator. That's what it looks like to me. Still not really sure, but that's what I'm going after. So I think now I'm going to try and decode these instructions. I mean, they're not very good, but I'm going to try and put them together, and then I think it'll go together in this spot here is my guess. That's the only other option I can see. So I'm going to try and see if I can figure out something, and then whenever I get to a point where I'm like, oh yeah, that looks right, then I'll come back here. Okay, so I finally got these things decoded and where they need to be. So I had two bolts here in the head. You have to take those off. And there's also another hole down here in your head. So what this here is this is the middle hole. And this is the spacer that is 2.544 inches long. And then down here is another spacer. This spacer is the one that is also 2.544 inches long, and it uses the bottom hole. Then there's another spacer here. This one here is the 2.010 inches long, and then we have the other plate, and then we have the M10 by 150 bolt going through the very bottom hole there. So what it looks like is going to happen is it's going to eventually sit up like this here, and these two holes here aren't going to have anything to grab onto, but this hole here and this hole here looks like they're aiming for this head. That's what it looks like that they're going to go to. And then this hole here is going to this hole here on your water pump is what it looks like it's lining up to be. And then possibly this hole here goes back there, and might be all the ones I see so far. So I'm going to still try to decipher a little bit of these instructions, and hopefully be able to tell you guys pretty plain and clear what spacers I'm using, what bolts I'm using, and hopefully it comes out looking all right and actually working. But from the looks of it, it looks like it's going to line up pretty close. So we'll keep on trucking along here, and hopefully we'll find something else out here. Okay, so what I'm doing is crossing off which numbers I use. So what I just did here was installed this spacer and this bolt. So this one used spacer 3, which was the 2.3 spacer. So I will cross that one off. And then it used number 5 bolt, which is the M10 by 80 bolt. So I'll go ahead and cross it off. Obviously, I'm not tightening these down yet, but I'm pretty sure this is how it's going to go. So I might start tightening those down here soon. But that's where we're at now, and we'll keep on working. Okay, I started tightening everything down, at least the 3 bolts I had. But they're still a little loose in there, but they are tight. Right now I have this spacer here and this bolt here I just added, which is spacer number 1, which is the long spacer, the 2.544 spacer. So got that one, and then if we follow the dotted line, it goes to bolt 6, which is the big 150. So that's where we're at now. I'm still gonna keep on just kind of putting things down in there and just get everything kind of loosely fit. But it seems to be going good now. I think this is definitely how it should be, at least like the orientation and things like that. So I think we're going to keep on working here, and then we should be done with this bracket here soon, I'd say, and then we can work on to this one here, which also I believe should go fairly simple now that I kind of know how this thing's going to work. Just in case you were wondering, it probably would be a lot easier to take the upper radiator hose off and the clutch fan off. It gives you just a little bit more room in here to get the bolts, but I'm still able to do it pretty easily with both of those on. So just a tip for those who are also doing this. But I'm going to keep putting bolts in here, take you guys along, and I think we're getting pretty close. So I'm just kind of finishing up, just putting bolts and stuff in here. We don't really need to put this one in right now because it's not really for the installation, but this is where the alternator is eventually going to sit, and I'm just trying to put the bolts and nuts together. So I just put that one there, but we'll go ahead and cross it off. That was number 9 was the nut. There was only 2. 13 and 12, those are just the actual brackets themselves. And then the number 5 bolt here, which was the M10 by 80 bolt there. So that's just where I'm at, and we'll keep on going. All right, so I'll just put this bolt in. With this spacer. Looks like it goes to the hole behind the brackets here on the water pump. And what this one here was this spacer here, number 3, which was the 2.3 spacer. So we got that one, and then if we follow it along, it hits this number 5 bolt, which was the M10 by 80. So we'll go ahead and cross it off now too. So I think now everything is actually mounted on the engine. I think now what's left is the pulley and then the bolts for the alternator itself. So keep on. Okay, so putting the pulley on here. See those 3 holes right there? There are the bolt there in the middle, and then the 2 little plugs. This here uses the number 8 bolt, which is the M10 by 65. This is also the one that has the little washer head on it there. So how this is going to go is you just bring it down here, and then focus down there, put it through there. The other one's there, and then the nut's going to go back there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten up all these other bolts. That way this pulley will sit down flush, and we'll keep on going. So I was working on putting the idler pulley on, and I believe you have to actually put the alternator on before you put the pulley on, which kind of sucks, because that means if you have to replace the alternator, you have to take the pulley off. So that's the only downside I've seen so far to this kit. So here's why. So it's going to sit in here like this right here, and in doing so, it actually blocks the hole or the access to that to the bolt here. And I actually don't see a way to like loosen the pulley up. So not sure if that's how it's actually supposed to go. It's the only way I can actually see. And the other thing is, it looks like it's going to be you're gonna have to take this bolt out down here and then lift the alternator up to put the belt on, and then pull the alternator down and try to slide the bolt in. That's what it's looking like. I haven't got that far yet, but that's what it looks like so far. Everything else is bolted down pretty well, so I'll try and get this pulley in, and then we'll keep on looking. Okay, so here's where we're at. We got the alternator installed and the pulley. So 4 cross off, 8 is that bolt there that goes through the idler pulley. So we got that one off. We got the number 9 nut on the back, and then I think 13 and 12 are just the brackets. So we got everything there and no extra parts, which is good. Excuse me. So now putting the compressor bracket on here. You reuse your 2 alternator bolts, and it just clips down in there like that there. And it looks like there's enough clearance for about everything, it looks like, so which is good. We'll have to test the compressor on there here in a second, but tightening these down, and then I think it's got bushings here with new bolts. I'm assuming those 4 are going to go here, the bolts going down for the 4 bolts on the compressor. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on now, and we'll see how it looks. All right, so we got the alternator in, and we got our AC compressor in. Check that out. So it does sit up high, so it is kind of a little bit of an eyesore, but should still work just fine. The spacers I got down here on the bottom, and the long bolts that came with it going up top. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this thing. Actually, I don't even know if I have this tied down anywhere. Let me see if I can just flop this over real quick. Yeah. So, think, get it off there. Yep, it'll sit down like that there. Something along those lines. So, I'll go ahead and get it bolted in, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, I finally got the belt on there. I did use the Gates belt that they had requested, but I didn't find any diagrams on how the belt orientation was supposed to go. So I think I finally got it on there. Got everything tightened down. I tightened up the tensioner bolt back here. There's a square here for your ratchet, and you tighten it down and it brings it down. That way you can put the belt on there and then let it go, and it tightens it up. So let me show you what I got here. So we're going around the power steering pump down there. We come up around the compressor. We go down around this tensioner here, and then we go over around the alternator, down around the tensioner. This is the Gates tensioner that you have to get as well. And then you go down around the crank, comes out over here. And then what it does is it goes down and around here, around your water pump pulley. And then it goes down, and we're back here to the power steering pump. Hopefully you guys can see that there. Hope you guys can maybe pause it and see how that's ran. Hopefully it makes sense to you. But yeah, I couldn't find it online. I was actually starting to question myself if I had messed up, but I think it's all in there. So we're all in there now. Now, I did have the cold air intake coming out the driver's side. I don't think it'll fit anymore with this compressor. I'm gonna go ahead and put the fan shroud back on here soon. And then I think with the cold air or the intake, I might have to make some adjustments and bring it out that way. So, but that looks it to be it right there. I'm glad we got it figured out. I'm going to put everything back together, and then hopefully we'll have it start up and see. So if I see anything else of importance, I'll make sure to take a video of it for you. Okay, so after the last video there, this is the single brown wire that I had over here. I had pulled it back through everything and ran it through there. So I just brought it around the intake, plugged it in here. It is a little tight here where this ground is at for the battery to charge from the alternator. I can't actually get this boot on it. Maybe with a little bit more effort I can, but for now, that's how it's looking. I think we're all good now. I'm gonna go ahead and put the fan shroud back on. I'm not gonna do any of the wiring right now. I think I'm gonna save that for another video, just because I think that should be a good video on itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the fan shroud on, intake on for now, and we'll see if it starts up and see how it does. So here it is running. Like I said, I don't have any of the wiring hooked up. That's gonna be a separate video. I was able to move my intake over here. So, and everything seems to clear, nothing seems to be rubbing. So, all looks well. I think we did a good job. So now, the next video is going to be the entire wiring, and we'll get into that, and hopefully that works. So I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'm glad it went as good as it did. Everything did seem to work, and outside of the parts list, I didn't need anything else. No other modifications were needed, which was really nice. So the next video is going to be all about wiring. I'm going to see if I left the correct wires in, and we'll see if the wires I left in, if they even plug in, and if it even kicks on the compressor. I don't even know. So I think that's it for this video. This is Trevor down here at McNeil's Garage 2.0. We'll catch you guys next time doing the wiring harness for the AC system on the OBS truck. See you guys later.